In our lifetime, we absorb facts, information, and skills. We get our theoretical and practical understanding through education and experience. It's called knowledge. Welcome to television's longest-running high school quiz show, Knowledge Bowl. Let's join two of our 16 competing Northeast Michigan high schools and our host, Astrid Fitzpatrick, for today's match.
Hello, welcome to Knowledge Bowl, Michigan's longest-running quiz show. I'm your host, Astrid Fitzpatrick. Today we've got our game between Standish Sterling and Alcona. We'll begin by introducing the teams, beginning with Standish Sterling and starting with their captain.
Hello, my name is Joe Gelman. I'm a senior.
Madison Schwab, junior.
Mackenzie Martin, sophomore.
Jonathan Dent, senior.
Ben Gelman, freshman.
Isabella Krajaleski, senior.
Katie Van Haren, junior.
And they're joined by their coach, Jennifer Gelman. And our team from Alcona, starting with their captain.
Isaac Dubuque, senior. Nathan Swenson, senior.
Alec Link, senior.
Elliot Dubuque, freshman.
And Tavius Micus, freshman.
Pierce Bilby, freshman.
Haley Petty, sophomore.
And they're joined by their coach, Linda Moran. I'd also like to thank our judge, Matthew Fitzpatrick, for being here today. And our first round is a toss-up round, but before we start that, here are the rules.
Round 1 is a toss-up format. A question will be asked, and the first competitor to ring in has the opportunity to answer the question. If a correct answer is given, the team is awarded 10 points. No consulting is allowed. If the answer is incorrect, then the question goes to the opposing team to answer.
All right, we'll get right into our first round. I'll name 4 of the great cities of Italy and ask you to put them in order from north to south. Here they are: Naples, Florence, Venice, and Rome. Isaac.
Venice, Naples, Florence, Rome.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Right, the correct answer was Venice, Florence, Rome, Naples. Give me either one of the 2 synonyms for perhaps that also start with P-E-R. Isaac?
Perchance.
And one more.
Don't know, I never got that far.
Okay, Standish? Okay, and we were looking for perchance and peradventure. The chief aims of this movement were to increase faith among church members, get rid of some of the abuses to which the leaders of the Reformation objected, and affirm some of the principles rejected by the Protestant churches. What do historians call this reaction of the Roman Catholic Church to Reformation? Right, the correct answer was Counter-Reformation. In his book, Fabrica, written in 1543, he began modern anatomy by accurately describing the human body. Name him. Madison?
Da Vinci.
I'm sorry, that was incorrect. Alcona? Alec?
Ivan Pavlov.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Ivan Pavlov.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was Vesalius. Define and spell repudiate. Right, the correct answer was R-E-P-U-D-I-A-T-E, and it means to disown, renounce, or reject. Which of Charles Dickens' novels is concerned with the life of Thomas Gradgrind, a citizen of Coketown, a fictitious industrial city in northern England? And the correct answer was Hard Times. What is the smallest positive angle for which the secant is not defined? Right, the correct answer was pi over 2 or 90 degrees. After Jim Nabors waited 24 hours for his, singer David Crosby waited 18 days, Pennsylvania Governor Bob Casey waited 1 day, and Mickey Mantle waited 2 days. Waited for what donor organ? Nathan?
Liver.
That's correct.
Good boy.
It is tucked between the world's largest coca leaf grower and the world's largest cocaine refiner, but it's had real success in suppressing its own drug trade, reducing its own coca leaf production by 90%. Name this small South American nation. Alec?
Colombia.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? The correct answer was Ecuador. Which television network features the highly regarded business journalist Lou Dobbs? Right, the correct answer was CNN. In 1994, it had the second highest rate of international migration of any U.S. state, but the lowest rate of domestic migration. In other words, foreigners but not Americans moved there. Name this state that has slipped to third in population. Joe?
Texas.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Alec?
New York.
That's correct.
Damn.
The revised SAT given for the first time on March 19, 1994, permitted the use of what type of aid? Joe?
Hearing.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Alcona? Isaac?
Calculator?
That's correct. Calculators. Much as in Poland 3 decades ago, the only independent force in this Marxist nation is the Catholic Church. In 1994, Pope John Paul II appointed the first cardinal of this nation in more than 30 years, Jaime Ortega. What island nation? Alec?
Sicily.
Sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was Cuba. In 1991, it became the longest continuously running show on national television that was still presided over by its original host. Give me the 2-word name of the show, hosted by William F. Buckley, Jr. Mackenzie?
Family Feud.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Alcona? Right, the correct answer was Firing Line. As of 1994, 3.2 million computers in the U.S. were connected to the internet, while only 4 other nations had only 100,000 connected, and surprisingly, Japan wasn't one of them. Name any 3 of these 4 nations, 3 of them English-speaking. Mackenzie?
England. We do have 3.
Okay, Alcona? Isaac?
England, France, and Germany.
Sorry, that's also incorrect. The 4 were Australia, Canada, Germany, and Great Britain. Right, and that's all the time we have for our first round. We'll be right back with some scores. Right, welcome back. We asked one more question during the break that brought the score for Standish up to 10, and Alcona is at 30 points. Our next round is a bonus round, but before we start that, here's how that works.
This is the bonus round. It consists of toss-up questions, as in round 1. However, this is the twist. The team answering correctly then gets 4 bonus questions. For each question answered correctly, a series of points will be awarded. Team members can consult, but only the team captain can answer the question. After an incorrect answer, the toss-up portion begins again for both teams.
All right, and before we begin our bonus round, we're also joined by alternate Antavius Micus on Alcona's side. Okay. What is the most abundant type of coal? The correct answer was bituminous. Which city in Missouri is nicknamed City of Fountains because it has more fountains than any other city in the United States and maybe the world? Alec?
St. Louis.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Fairview? Or, I'm sorry, Standish.
City?
That's correct, Kansas City. Right, and the topic, or the category is Civil War. The North enjoyed an advantage over the South because of its A, foreign trade, B, tobacco crop, C, ships, or D, industry.
D.
That's correct. At Appomattox, Grant refused Lee's offer of his what?
Surrender.
Sorry, that was incorrect. The correct answer was a sword. What last name is shared by 3 Baseball Hall of Fame members, the right fielder and third baseman for the great Baltimore Orioles, teams of the 1960s and 70s, and the second baseman for the great Brooklyn Dodgers from the teams of the 1950s? Right, and the correct answer was Robinson. Following World War II, Montenegro chose the city of Podrick as its capital, but changed the city's name in whose honor? The correct answer was Tito. Of wave theory, quantum theory, or particle theory, which explains the polarizing properties of light? Madison?
Wave theory?
That's correct. Okay, your category is psychology. A generalized feeling of dread or that something bad is about to happen is called what?
Anxiety.
That's correct. What psychological defense mechanism is being used when a person tries to hide failures by giving acceptable but not the real reasons for the failures?
Rationalization.
That's correct. One unconsciously takes on those ideals and qualities he admires in others through the defense mechanism called what? What was that?
Idolization.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. It was identification. Which of the 4 main races of mankind is notable for a lack of facial hair? Nathan.
Asian.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? The correct answer was Mongoloid. Paint with what type of base is most toxic to the environment? Jonathan?
Lead.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Alcona? The correct answer was oil. Name Henry Thoreau's friend who was the landlord at Walden Pond. The correct answer was Emerson. What is the origin of the use of the word fall to refer to the season of the year named autumn? Joe?
During autumn, the leaves fall off of the trees.
That's correct. Fall comes from the falling leaves. Right? Poetry. Did Robert Browning write My Life, My Lost Youth, or My Last Duchess?
My life, my lost youth.
Sorry, that's incorrect. It was My Last Duchess. Which word comes from Sanskrit, the oldest Indo-European language? Haiku, karma, jihad, shalom, or aloha? Isaac?
Shalom.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish?
Elopa. The last one, I don't know.
Aloha? No, I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
I heard it wrong.
The correct answer was karma. What is the legal term for the closest relative of a person who has died without leaving a will? Joe?
Next of kin.
That's correct. Okay, British literature. In what season of the year did the Canterbury Tales take place?
Winter.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Correct answer was spring. Okay. President Truman used what constitutional power to remove General MacArthur from military service? The correct answer was power as commander-in-chief. Pick the flower that is not identified with a Greek mythological character. Narcissus, hyacinth, anemone, dahlia, or iris? Nathan.
Anemone.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Madison.
Dahlia.
That's correct. Okay. In science, certain numbers have special significance. Identify the name given to the number which equals approximately 3.14159.
Pi.
That's correct. The name given to the constant 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd power, which indicates the number of molecules in a mole.
Avogadro's number.
That's correct. The name given to the number 6.63 times 10 to the negative 34th power joule seconds.
It's the one that's not pi.
The correct answer was Planck's constant. Okay. What is the correct chemical formula for the compound barium sulfate? Joe?
Br2s2.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Alcona? Isaac?
BA2S.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. Correct answer was BaSO4. When discussing the great personages in history, one offered as his choice Isaac Newton, John Locke, and Roger Bacon. The other proclaimed Julius Caesar to be the greatest man who ever lived. Who were these two rivals on George Washington's cabinet? Joe?
Thomas Jefferson and John Adams.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Alcona? Right, the correct answer was Jefferson and Hamilton. And that's all the time we have for our second round. We'll be right back with some updated scores. All right, welcome back. So far we've got a score of 95 with Standish, and Alcona has a score of 30. Our next round is the 60-second round, but before we start that, here are the rules.
This is our 60-second round. The team with the lowest score selects from one of the 4 categories of 10 questions. The team that has 60 seconds to answer as many questions as possible. Each correct answer is worth 10 points. Any missed questions will then be answered by the opposing team. An additional 20-point bonus is awarded for answering all 10 questions correctly.
All right, we'll begin our round with Alcona. They've chosen the category Warriors. I'll give them the name of the warrior, and they give me the war. Okay, Audie Murphy.
Civil.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Sergeant Alvin York.
Revolutionary.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Norman Schwarzkopf.
World War II.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Pierre Beauregard.
French Revolution.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Teddy Roosevelt.
Spanish American.
That's correct. Marquis de Montcalm.
World War I.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Blucher.
Vietnam.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Otto von Bismarck. Right, Standish. I'll give you the warrior, you give me the war. Audie Murphy.
Audie Murphy. World War II.
That's correct. Sergeant Alvin York.
War of 1812.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Norman Schwarzkopf.
What's the war in Iraq called? The Iraq War.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Pierre Beauregard.
World War II.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Marquis de Montcalm.
The French and Indian War.
That's correct. And Blucher.
100 Years' War.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Right, our next category is finish the sentence with Standish. Secco and Vanzetti were tried and convicted in the state of
Massachusetts.
That's correct. The 15th Amendment states that the right of citizens to vote shall not be denied or abridged on account of race, color, or previous condition of what?
Citizenship.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Calvin Coolidge said, "I do not choose to run for president in..."
1920.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Coolidge said, "If you don't say anything, you won't be called upon to..."
Do anything.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Mass multiplied by acceleration due to gravity equals...
Force.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. There are 231 cubic inches in one what?
Cubic yard.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Ripple marks on sedimentary rocks were formed either by water or by...
Wind. It's too late.
She's taking it.
It's too late.
All right, sorry.
She was gonna take.
Alcona. Secco and Vanzetti were tried and convicted in the state of.
Massachusetts.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. The 15th Amendment states that the right of citizens to vote shall not be denied or abridged on account of race, color, or previous condition of. Right. Calvin Coolidge said, "I do not choose to run for president in."
1940.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Coolidge said, "If you don't say anything, you won't be called upon to."
Lead.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Mass multiplied by acceleration due to gravity equals.
Thrust.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. And there are 231 cubic inches in one.
Foot.
What was that?
Foot.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. And that's it for our 60-second round. We'll be right back with some updated scores. Welcome back. We've got Standish with a score of 125 and Alcona with a score of 40. Our last round is the toss-up round, just like the first round, so we'll get right into that. It got its name simply because an early compiler of Aristotle's work placed it after Aristotle's physics. Name this branch of thought concerned with the fundamentals of existence. Madison?
Philosophy?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Alcona? The correct answer was metaphysics. His most famous play was first produced in 1895, the year he was sent to jail, and he never wrote another. Can you name him? The correct answer was Oscar Wilde. If a colonist had a silver dollar coin and needed 25 cents or 50 cents, what could he do with the coin? The primary coins in circulation were silver Spanish milled dollars. Right, the correct answer was you could cut the dollar into 2, 4, 6, or 8 pieces or bits. What is the property of something that can be molded easily? It is the property of something that can be molded easily. Spell plasticity. Isaac?
Plasticity.
That's correct. The altitude to the hypotenuse of a right triangle divides it into two segments which are 2 and 18 units long. Find the lengths of the 3 sides of this triangle. Right, the correct answer was 2 times the square root of 10, 6 times the square root of 10, and 20. What is the correct idiomatic translation of the sentence, no hablo español hace 6 años? Mackenzie?
I don't speak Spanish. I am 6 years old.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Alcona? Right, the correct answer is I haven't spoken Spanish for 6 years. Why were epic tales about the adventures of knights and other chivalric heroes called romances? Nathan?
There is mostly a part about love in them.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Joe?
They romanticize the adventure of the knights.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. It was because they were written in Romance languages rather than Latin. Who was King Lear's oldest daughter? Correct answer was Goneril. What is the proper word for an item of clothing, especially the ceremonial attire and insignia worn by a priest? Pierce?
A stole.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? The correct answer was vestment. What did John Nance Garner describe as a spare tire upon the automobile of government? Pierce?
The vice president.
That's correct, vice presidency. Finish this quotation by Winston Churchill. In war, resolution. In defeat, defiance. In victory, magnanimity. In peace. Isaac?
Prosperity.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? The correct answer was goodwill. The United Nations Security Council called for withdrawal of North Korean forces from South Korea in 1950. The Soviet Union would have vetoed this, but at the time the Russians were boycotting the council because the UN wouldn't admit what nation? Right, the correct answer was China, or Communist China. About 2 million acres of Indian land in Oklahoma was opened to whites on April 22, 1889. Why were some of the settlers called Sooners? Be specific. Pierce?
When they were giving land away, there was horse races, and the racers were called boomers, but the people that raced and snuck beforehand were called Sooners.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Joe?
The Sooners beat the peoples of the free land.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. It's because all the settlers rushed forward to stake their claims when a gun was fired, and those who went ahead of the guns firing were called Sooners. The Zimmerman Note had a lot to do with bringing on one of the wars in which the U.S. had been involved. What was the Zimmerman Note? Antavius.
It was a note going to Mexico to ask, or from Germany, to ask Mexico to start a war with the United States.
That's correct. What are the possible real number solutions for x in the quadratic equation x squared minus 3x minus 54 equals 0? Joe?
X equals 9 and negative 6.
That's correct. And that's all the time we have for our last round. We'll be right back with the final scores. All right, welcome back. Our final scores are Standish with 135 and Alcona with 70. So congratulations to Standish for winning this game. Join us next week when we have Hale versus Aranac. And I'll leave you with a quote by Carl Jung. Knowledge lies not in truth alone, but in error also. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's why they put the little erasers on pencils. Have a good day.